Okay, I am Randall Wall, and I'm here with my good friend, actually one of my best friends, Dakota Worrel, who is, just an amazing guy. And I thought it would be really good to show what you can do with drive and with determination. And he's accomplished so much in such a short time. People look at me and go, Randall, you've accomplished all these things. Yeah, I'll be 57 next month. Dakota, how old are you?
I am 24 years old. I'll be 25 in August.
25 and August. So 24. All right. Don't borrow any years that you haven't earned yet. So focus on 24. And you've been in the business of real estate for how long?
You know what? I'm actually coming up on my 5-year anniversary. March 3rd will be 5 years.
Wow. So
I'll be
almost
good.
5 years. And what were you doing 5 years ago?
5 years ago, I had a couple different jobs. I worked as a delivery driver for Domino's Pizza. I worked at Best Buy, and I was also washing dishes for an Italian restaurant.
Uh,
So I was staying pretty busy back then.
So basically, it was the Italians had half your time, and Best Buy, tech had the rest. It sounds like.
Absolutely. Yeah, dishwashing is it's way harder than anybody gives it credit for, and it doesn't ever seem to stop.
Yeah, I had a brief stint of that when I was in high school, so I can appreciate that. So you're 19 years old, you're washing dishes, you're delivering pizza, and you're hanging out at Best Buy looking for the latest tech. And when did you start in real estate?
I started in February of 2015. That's when I really started looking, or rather, that's when I put my first home under contract.
So you
Took
were
me.
how old then?
What's that?
So how old were you? Were you still
I was
19?
19. Yeah, I just barely turned 19. Um, and I put my first house under contract in February of 2015. Um, I feel like there were a lot of factors that drove me into real estate. I had my dad kind of pushing me there through reverse psychology. He knows I hate being told that I can't do something, so he used to always tell me, would be great if, it'd be cool if you could buy a house, but unfortunately, there's just no way you'd pull it off. You couldn't do it. Uh, and it's kind of laughable looking back at how easily that sort of stuff motivated me. But yeah, I kind of just ended up buying a property, not knowing what I was doing, not knowing how to value property. It's funny. My dad used to be really big on making me write business plans, and I hated it. But recently, I found like the world's worst business plan that I wrote 5 years ago for that first house that I bought. And it's funny because if you read the business plan, I'm not like there's nothing about forced appreciation. There's nothing about even cash flow. Ironically, there's no like cash flow built into the business plan. The whole business plan, it's like a little bit of market analysis, and it basically says that my mortgage was $802. So I was going to rent the house out for $802 for 30 years, let my tenants pay it off, and then sell it for exactly what I bought it for. So it's kind of funny how things evolve.
So do you still have that house?
No, actually, I sold it with a little bit of heartache about 2 years ago to actually one of the students that I mentored. So it's still in the family per se.
All right. And did you cash flow better than 802 a month?
Yeah, so I mean, it was actually a huge improvement, and I got into real estate without any direction, but once I was in it, I realized why I needed to stay in it. So my mortgage was $802 a month, and I bought a single family home that I converted into a duplex. And when we say converted, I'm using that term very loosely. I walled off a door, and there were laundry hookups for the washer and dryer, and I got a little kitchenette and plumbed it through the washer drain and the water hookups.
Got it.
But I lived in the basement for free, and I rented the upstairs to a family for $850 a month. So instead of paying rent, at $400 a month that I was paying, I was living for free and now making $48 in cash flow because, I'm self-managing at that point,
Sure.
which That doesn't seem like a lot, $48 a month, but for me, especially because I was in college full time, I'm paying my own tuition. I didn't take a dime out in student loans. $48 a month was 9 Little Caesars pizzas every month, which was like 2 a week and one on a bad week. So that was a pretty large quality of life improvement for me, and it's kind of ironic, but even today I measure all of my equity and all of my cash flow in Little Caesars pizza. That's how I keep it in perspective for me.
That's awesome. I love it. So you sold the house. How much did you make on it? You held it for 3 years. What was your profit?
75,000. Yeah, so I bought that house with $419 out of my pocket. I applied for a grant.
Financed.
No, yeah. I mean, I got so an owner occupied loan, right, where I had to put 3.5% down, but I applied for grants and I got a platinum grant that was like $4,912 or something. And so, I only came in with $419 and I didn't have a payment for 2 months. So the first month's of rent came directly to me. So I mean, really, I think I basically got paid like $1,600,
Buy that house.
$1,400 to buy that house. And then, that's when I really fell in love with real estate.
That's awesome. So 75,000 over 3 years, you cash flowed, you ate tons of Little Caesars pizza, you lived there for free. I mean, it sounded like it was an awesome deal. So tell me, today, how many doors do you have?
So right now, so I've owned over 100 doors. Right now, I've really consolidated and tried to go to bigger projects where it was quality over quantity and being less spread out. So right now, I only have 62 doors, but the 62 doors that I have are actually really, really, really highly performing. I mean, I was saying the other day, my 62 doors cash flow about as well as some people who have like 120. So
Nice.
yeah, we're growing more into like the larger commercial multifamily space, and it's been a fun journey so far.
So now I know you and I looked at some units down in Price, here recently,
Yeah.
and you had some good advice there. Talked about splitting it up into individual lots, and that was something I hadn't thought of, and so I appreciated that insight. You bought in Logan and Ogden as well, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I've invested both in Logan and in Ogden. In fact, Logan is really kind of a special place for me. That was the promised land for me. That's where I built my whole fortune per se, because at the time, at least for me, it was the only place in the United States that I knew of that with, pretty much no parents holding my hand, I could go on my own merit, work a job, pay my college, pay my rent, and still save enough to obviously invest and ultimately be able to grow like I did. I don't think there were many places like that. So I really loved Logan and everything that place was. And I'm still invested there. I still have several properties there that I might not ever sell.
Mm-hmm. No, that's wonderful. And basically you started, so it sounded like you started your empire started with almost nothing down.
Well, yeah, and that's great because I had nothing to put down. So,
You told me the story about being really creative and using underlayment bags from Walmart as underlayment on your first property.
Yeah, that's my whole story, right? So why are we in Price? And I see opportunities like we can subdivide these lots and we can make money this way and that way. It's because my whole life I haven't had any money and I've been competing against guys who have lots of money, right? So the only way to mend that gap is, one, you have to be boots on the ground. I've got to be there faster than anyone else. And two, I've got to be really scrappy, right? So that's kind of a super embarrassing story for me that everybody ended up loving for some reason. But that, where I used the Walmart bags for underlayment, that's a real story of where I ran out of money because I didn't know what I was doing, right? I mismanaged my budgets and I solved the problem. So when I blew all my budget on laminate floors and I had no underlayment and later found out I needed it, there was no money to go do that. It wasn't like, oops, this sucks. I just solved that problem, and unfortunately ended up going into the self checkout of Walmart and and stealing all their checkout bags and stapling them to the floor to use as my underlayment. So, whatever gets it done, I guess. But part of me has wondered if I shouldn't go in and give Walmart $100 for that. But I think I spend enough money there. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. No, I think, and I'm sure you're able to spend more money now because you've got more Little Caesars pizzas to, they're stacking up in the millions now instead of, in the, 5 or 10 a month.
Yeah, that's true. I've tried, but unfortunately they don't accept Little Caesars payment.
Yeah, that's true. So let's talk about some of the things that you've learned.
Oh, I've got plenty of that.
Let's is there one thing that maybe stands out as far as something that has been a major thing that you could steer people away from, other investors?
Randall, I have learned a lot of really hard lessons the hard way. And, if I had a topic, I'd give you something specific. I think one of the things that I've learned is, especially when I was young, and I still struggle with pride daily, but especially when I was younger and a lot more arrogant, what I really struggled with was pride. And I was very prideful because especially when I started out and I was making a lot of money very quickly in real estate, right? Instead of realizing the market was doing a lot of that for me and being thankful that the market was paying for my education and paying for all my mistakes and school fees,
Sure.
I kind of let a little bit of it go to my head because I got it in my head that, Dakota, you're so smart, you're so intelligent, you're ahead of the curve, you're doing what nobody else is doing, right? But what I realized is, yes, Dakota, you're intelligent, but I'm not wise. And if I had to choose between the two, I would choose to be wise, because the fact of the matter is I had very good mentors in my life that I refused to listen to because I thought I knew better.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the mistakes that I made could have been prevented. One, because, my dad a lot of the time was flat out telling me exactly what was going to happen when I did what I did. And I said, no, you don't know anything. I know better. Watch. It's going to be different for me. Right. And two, just because, how arrogant was I to believe that 30 years experience had no bearing on what I was doing for the first time in real estate, right? So one lesson that I've learned the hard way is be wise. Select good mentors and then just listen to them. And that's what I tell everybody. I teach classes at night. I mentor a lot of kids. And sometimes I just tell them, like, right now it's time to be a soldier. You can do it on your own. It's going to take you 5 years, or you can surpass me and learn from my mistakes, and you can do it in 3. It's up to you.
I think that's key, and you've hit on something. It doesn't just affect young men, it affects older men as well. Being humble and teachable is always a big thing. And I've always thought that was a good strength with you, one of your biggest actually, which is good. And, people always want to know, how do you find deals? Like it's a holy grail. And I have the feeling that there's no real big secrets. Why don't you tell me, from what I understand, you literally run your deals down.
It's exactly what you say. When I get asked this question, I always feel a little bit disappointing, because the truth is there's nothing innovative really about finding deals. It's operated the same way, at least for as long as I've been alive, I'm sure. Look, there's the whole process, driving for dollars or getting a list from the assessors and cross-referencing and getting the contacts. There's a few innovative things in there. Like, I think texting produces far better results than cold calling or door knocking. It's free. It's easy to organize. People will respond to you eight months later because they never delete their text messages.
Yeah.
But But the truth is, it's just reputation, right? And it doesn't take that long to build a reputation. Even coming into a new market, it's being in Lowe's, right? Grabbing flooring for one of your projects and seeing an old lady there who's trying to pick out flooring for hers and saying, hey, what type of project are you working on? Maybe I can help with a recommendation, right? And all of a sudden, they just don't want to, they're not looking forward to it. Their grandkids were supposed to help them install all the flooring. They don't know how to do it. Now they've got to do it themselves because they're halfway through the project. And, next thing I'm buying their house.
Sure.
Right? Like, the secret to finding deals, leave your apartment, go out in your community, do a lot of service, and it just works. Like, I actually bought a property from two elderly people that I saw walking out carrying some heavy boxes. I didn't know who they were. We'd never met. I just ran up and grabbed the boxes, put a smile on, started talking to them about life. And like, seriously, 4 months later, I bought actually not one house, but two properties from them on seller financing. And it's because our first interaction wasn't on a basis of business or what the ulterior motive was. It was genuinely just like service-based, altruistic desire to help somebody. And so we started that negotiation from a position of trust. You understand? So
Yeah.
it's just being involved in the community. There's no real secret to it. Go get involved with something, and you'll find that everybody has property or knows of property that would be a lead for you. And then it's just what you said. You just run it down and make contact. And don't wait. Just do it.
I love it. Yeah, don't wait, just do it. I'm actually reading a book right now, and it talks about 5 seconds. It says when you get an urge, act on it within 5 seconds, or maybe that urge will pass out of your brain, out of your mind. And so I think that's been the thing, because people always say, oh, how do I find those deals? And just like you said, it's talking to people, it's getting out there and it's doing it. It's like, because it's not rocket science. You go find the people that own the properties or the types of properties that you want to buy, duplexes, triplexes, multi-units, whatever it is, right? And then you contact them. And I like what you said about texting, and it's just, so many people will locate the properties. They'll do driving for dollars because I'm an investor. Hey, I'm keeping busy. I've just spent 10 hours driving for dollars.
True.
And then they'll spend another, 25 hours trying to locate the property owners for all those properties. But at the end of the day, they never take action. They don't try to reach out. They don't call. They don't text. They don't, even do the weenie way, which is send a letter out. They just won't take action.
So I found a lot of people don't want to go find the deal because they want to find the money first. They say, I'm not looking for properties or deals because I don't have the money to buy anything yet. And I've always found this to be one of the most backward philosophies, not just in real estate, but with people in general, right? So many people are all out chasing money and they're all poor, right? But then you realize if you start chasing people in genuine relationships, that the money chases you. And it's the same in real estate, right? Go find the deal and you can find the money. And I'm a testament to that because I found lots of deals in rapid succession. I can tell you I had no money. I did stupid stuff, sure. I cash advanced credit cards. That was a huge pain. But I also found partners, and not real equity partners, but people who lent me money that I considered more like partners than lenders.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And just do it. Just get out there. And maybe one tip for those people who are driving for dollars every day, and then they're spending hours trying to track down the owners. What would be a lot better is spend all your time driving for dollars, right? And then pay a virtual assistant or a college student or anybody who wants to basically go down, enter the pages into a people finder. You know what I mean? Cross-reference it with the parcel viewer, get a phone number, and send your script, right? Because the script's really simple. It's, hi, my name's Dakota Worrel. I own a property, down the block from yours. I'm looking for another investment in this area. Would you ever consider selling it to me? And that can be replicated. So you can get an assistant for $8 an hour, and they can do 100 records, in 5 or 6 hours. And then what? You paid them $40 and you identified 4 or 5 more properties out driving, or you talked to somebody. And what's the value of that? like on average, probably 50 to 80 grand.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's really smart. Most people don't learn that if you have something that you're not good at, hire somebody else to do it. You
Do
know,
what you do best and hire out the rest.
that's it. Do what you do best, hire the rest. That's really wise.
Yep.
So you've got a training course that you've been working on. I've seen a little bit of it. It really looks like it's world class. It's probably some of the best training that I've seen. Do you want to just take a moment and share that with us?
Yeah, sure. That's kind of been on the down low. Not a lot of people know about that, what's in the works. So we started DW Investors. I actually started DW Investors, back in like 2013-ish, and it was my first company I ever started, and it failed. Right. So I've resurrected it into what it is today, a real estate investment company. It's doing really well. And I've kind of gone down the line, DW property management, DW this, DW that, trying to integrate all our systems together, because ultimately we just want to be able to provide value for the people that we're teaching and helping. And the only way that I've actually been able to do that consistently is by keeping it in-house.
Sure.
So basically what we've realized, because I've been teaching real estate classes at night for a while now, is that we're having amazing results. 70% of the kids who come through our course, which by the way, I'm teaching the classes for free, right?
Yeah.
That are coming through our course with basically no money behind them or experience, 70% of them are actually buying their first investment property.
That's awesome. Now, Ellie was one of those, right? I think I met her at the Investor Association, young girl, bought her first property, ready to start investing.
Yeah, young woman has no money, right? Didn't come from necessarily the iconic family situation, just works hard, pays her bills, and was tired of spending a lot of money in rent, right? So she went out, she found the grant, she attended our classes for 8 weeks. She never missed a class. She was always early.
Nice.
And I was telling Ellie the other day, analyzing her property, I'd be very surprised if she doesn't have 60 grand in the next 2 years. And in that time period, she'll also have cash flow at about 10 grand.
Nice.
Not to mention the depreciation and the taxes that she's going to get back from working her job, right? From bleeding boxes. And it's just phenomenal. So how do we scale that from 10 kids that we're teaching in each class at night, right? Because my office can only hold 10 of them.
Sure.
So we've got a waiting list. There's people who want this. How do we scale that? So what we've been doing is, kind of learning on the fly. We've set up a little ragtag studio with a green screen, pinned to the wall, and got some camera equipment. And we've taken that whole course and we filmed it out. We've attached it with whiteboard animations, some good editing to hold your attention. We paired it with quizzes, long form written content, video content. And we're making an online course that we're going to sell for, pretty cheaply. And our goal is that we're going to open that same class up essentially to any regular kid exiting high school or college that wants to learn everything that higher education should have taught them.
Very cool. Do you think that maybe, would you mind sharing in a future video, like 10 or 15 minutes with us and, a topic or two?
Oh, you're twisting my arm. Yeah, you know what? I will talk to Tyson. We'll get an edited segment out because we've got quite a few done. We're almost ready to launch it. We're going to open up pre-sales May 1st.
Nice.
But, yeah, we can do that. We can show you what we're working on. Just take it with a grain of salt, knowing that what you're looking at won't be a completely finished product yet.
Okay. No, I think it'll be good. But knowing you, it'll look amazing and probably better than just about everything else out there. So,
well, thanks.
So I understand that the LDS Church is actually using some footage, or they've at least requested some footage for maybe conference from a charity trip that you took here a few months back. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with your charity and that?
All right, everybody watching, note this. If you ever tell Randall anything, he's going to bring it up when you're being recorded
Yes.
and can't
Count
pivot
on it.
out of it. Yeah, so this is actually kind of a huge accomplishment that we're really excited for. When we started getting involved and going out to Nepal, I had the thought, let me bring my good friend Tyson Hill out here, who's a professional videographer, kind of takes pity on me as a small business, and because we're friends, we started our first businesses at the same time in college, and his took up off like this, and mine just kind of right, just luck of the draw. But he came out there with us, and on a budget of about like $3,500, we put together some really, in my opinion, some really moving videos about the plight that some of the women and young girls and boys in Nepal face. And we submitted it to the LDS Church to be included in their general conference. And, fingers crossed, it's not done until it's done, freight on dock, but it's looking like our video is actually going to be featured in the April general conference, which is viewed by 12 million or more people. It's going to be live on television. It's just a big event. But more
Worldwide.
importantly, yeah, think of how many girls we're going to get sponsored from that video.
Oh, yeah.
There
No,
might be thousands of little girls that are in school and get some basic hygiene and doctor's visits and, health camps now because of that. So it's a big move for us. It's a big move for Eternal Hope Nepal. And it's a phenomenal, like just astronomically, unquantifiably large move for all those girls that are going to benefit.
that's awesome. You got a big heart. My wife always says a big heart matches your big brain. And so that's it, so it's a wonderful thing. Well, I would like to thank you for spending some time with me and sharing a few things. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
What is one lesson? I never like to focus on all the good. I always want to try to share a lesson because I think that's where you create real value. We talked about being wise. What's another lesson? You know what? Honestly, if I had to point to one thing that I think has indirectly probably saved me over $1 million, maybe more than that in terms of relationships saved, is I have a hard rule for myself that I never back up off of. If you're upset, if you're frustrated, if you're sad, sleep on it. Don't make any decisions until the morning. Because I can't tell you how many times I was ready to call quits and probably do damage to my business or say things to my lenders or say things to my network that I couldn't take back because I was in a moment. And after sleeping on it, just woke up and realized, you know what? Not only is it not a big deal, but I find that I just don't even care this morning.
Right.
And just move on and let bygones be bygones. And it's really hard to see that you're in the moment when you're in the moment, right? A lot of things, especially I think for young men, seem like they're forever and they're right now. And, I've got myself into trouble with that. So I would say just sleep on it. And if anybody's telling you they need a decision from you right now, the safest answer, like if somebody can't let you sleep on it, somebody can't let you chew the fat on it, just say no. Because I'll tell you, something's not right about it.
I would say that's correct. So I'm a lot thinner. You can kind of tell on my face than I was 4 months ago when I went with you to Nepal.
Absolutely.
And watched you speak to a group there. But I have found that I've done a lot of it through fasting. And I find that, I'm starving or I feel like I'm hungry or whatnot. But if I just sleep on it, I get up the next day, I'm not thinking about food. It's not on my mind. I can usually go for another 12 hours with reduced calorie. And so, yeah, just sleep on it. I love it. And, I think my takeaways are, pizza and just sleep on it. And I love the fact that you said you'd rather be wise than smart. I think that is a key to your success. And I think you are very wise. Dakota, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And I really appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing more and learning about your course and having you share a little bit with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randall. I appreciate the opportunity.
Take care.